Trapping plays a very important role in modern-day wildlife management. Professional wildlife biologists monitor fur-bearer populations to maintain a healthy and sustainable harvest of this important, renewable natural resource. Trapping provides recreation and income for licensed trappers across this country. Who's Your Trapper Outdoors is brought to you by Who's Your Trapper Supply. J3 Outdoors, manufacturer of the Hag Bracket and Body Trap Spring Clip. Leatherwood Creek Trapping Scents, Who's Your Trapper Deer Scents, and Leatherwood Wildlife Art.
Welcome to Episode 7, Season 10, Who's Your Trapper Outdoors. Appreciate you guys joining us. We're going to continue with our Arkansas line for a few episodes yet. Then we'll go to our semi-live. To be honest with you, we are waiting for the farmers to get the crops out of the fields, and we just had 2 inches of rain, so I'm not sure exactly when we're going to start, because most of the places that we actually trap are still standing in corn and soybeans both. So anyways, we'll keep you posted on that, but looking forward to the semi-live segments that we do. Want to mention the photo contest. All the information's on the website, homepage of the website, HTS Photo Contest. It's got the rules, the requirements, and then there is also an entry email. All the photos need to be submitted through that email that is on there. I think it's HTS Photo Contest, something like that, at Gmail. Anyways, it's on there. It got very confusing last year with photos coming in through numerous platforms. So this way we've got everything coming through at one point. So, and then obviously you get a chance to win a $100 gift card by drawing. So I think that's it on the photo contest. Want to show my appreciation for all the orders that everyone's placed online. Walked in the store, called us on the phone. After all, that's what keeps all this going. We sure appreciate it. So I think that's it. I hope you enjoy the show.
Check day 7. First critter of the day. It's been a pretty slow start. Charlie and I were kind of talking about that weather front that came through. Kind of helped push the animals around, get them moving more with that front. From here on out, it's going to be pretty much the same conditions. Pretty windy, so we'll see what kind of the activity, how that continues. But slow start, but we did get this coyote here. Set was here on a dirt hole. I had that rock for backing, Bobcat urine and top dog bait. And this lure here was Coyote Carnage. I might have put a little bit of long distance with it, but I can't remember. But one of these up through here I did, but it's a good sign.
Yeah.
So, finishing up this set, I'm gonna roll this rock back. I showed this on a different set too. It's just a good alternative if you can't get a dirt hole back in. Smear some, and I'll place this rock right over it and just maybe pinch a hair of that top dog. Just kind of cover it up. Come in here and give it. Just a little bit of black gold glob on the front. And a little bit of Bobcat pee. That's it. There's plenty of smell here to attract the herd. How many times we've drove past this spot?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Because we just sat right up on the hill. Not, oh shoot, quarter of a mile at the most.
Yeah.
And we've always driven by this spot.
Yeah, it's because, you know, the same animals right here would be up there, so.
Generally.
Yeah.
So.
We kind of normally pass this spot. And as you can tell, Charlie is holding the catch pole, so. But that's always a good sign.
The spot up on the hill so far, 2 coyotes, and it is one of our better spots. We always say, we're always excited to check it. And then down here, caught a gray the other day.
Yeah. And now I have a bobcat over here. Tell you what, that never gets old.
No, it doesn't.
Pretty cool. Got it by the back foot. Alright, got the remake done here, freshened up a little bit. Traps here, door holes here, had top dog in there. Bobcat urine. And we caught this cat on Predator Seducer. Yeah, like I've been saying, I got a mixed array of lures all here. So, just been jumping around. So as far as cats go, we've caught them on Finicky Feline, a couple cats on that. Jet Fuel, Seducer, and I think there's another one. I can't remember. I have to go back and look. Black Gold, maybe. I know we caught Gray Fox on that. I'd have to go back and look, but I know those other 4 for sure. Which is kind of cool. We keep tabs and write it down in the book, but this is a ready to go remake. Check day 7 continues.
All right, we've checked about, I don't know, 75, 80% of our sets. Been kind of a slow day, but it hadn't been a bad day. Still on check day 7. Got this set right here. Justin had a set behind the wildlife road down there. And this was kind of a partial dirt hole, whatever. It does have a hole showing there with the top dog under the hole. I did use Finicky Feline on this one, which it works great on coyotes and bobcats as well. So it was designed for, coyotes and gray foxes like it really well too. And then it was designed for bobcats, and they very effective on them too. But anyways, we've got the coyotes back here in the brush. He didn't go very far. It was a pre-wrap drag, and he's just hanging out back here in this tree top here where they came in and thinned these trees out. So we'll get this remade. We'll show you the remake when it's done, and get him in the truck. Okay, here's the remake on the set. Just caught the coyote. This coyote's kind of small build to it. It's kind of a different coyote, but for down here, it's pretty pale, and belly's not bad. I mean, for mid-January, pretty decent. Doesn't have the harsh colors. So, but here's the remake. Bait was still in place. I did put a little more coyote or bobcat urine on it, and that's basically it. Trap obviously is down there. This coyote was caught by both front feet, so he was fully committed to that set. We generally hug the hole with the trap. You know, if you have an adequate bait or attractant, that's what they want. So you need to guard that with the trap. You don't need to be back, in our opinion, 8, 9, 10 inches from the hole. So anyways, he was, like I said, he was fully committed. Both front feet were in the trap. So we've got, like I said, about 20-25% of our traps yet to check. Still on check day 7. It's been a okay day, pretty decent day. So we'll see how the rest of it plays out.
Hags Trapping Products by J3 Outdoors, the most versatile and efficient trapping devices on the market.
Got the Hags brackets on here. We just set this trap in one of the grooves, and it just sits right under there on the bottom slot, and then the water's just directly over the trap. All right, trap's missing. We'll see if we got anything. Hags bracket with the carrot. Can't beat that.
Leatherwood Trapping Sense. Success speaks for itself.
All right, Q&A. Got a couple here that I'm going to revisit, actually. So somebody asked about coyote value, what's their worth. And that is a loaded question, to say the least, in terms of the biggest thing is where you're at in the country. If you're in the western part of the United States, particularly high elevation, those coyotes are going to be worth good money. In the eastern part of the United States, it just all depends on what coyotes you have in your hand. So the quality here in the east varies considerably, and none of ours will meet the quality of a western coyote by any means. We don't have the silky soft fur, we don't have the white pale coyotes, we don't have the super white white bellies on ours, so it's all going to depend on what you have. With that being said, Canada Goose has, who was probably the main user of coyotes for trim, has decided that they're no longer going to use coyote as trim. So that's going to affect the market, at least in the short term, in my view, and until some other manufacturers pick up the slack that Canada Goose has put out there. So we'll see how that all plays out. So you may see some resistance in price to the coyotes this year as compared to last year, but we'll just have to wait and see. With that being said, we are going to do a podcast with Guy Groenwald of Groenwald Fur here in the next couple 3 weeks, get a little bit closer to the season. He can give us a more specific update on the market, where he thinks things are at. And I mean, after all, he's the guy writing the check. So who better to hear from than somebody directly involved in the fur market? And he is definitely a major player in the fur market. Another follow-up question is, what does severely contaminated trap refer to? So if you have a trap that has actually made a catch, it's smelling like that animal, and that would be what I would call severely contaminated, naturally contaminated. So whether it's caught a skunk, a raccoon, a possum, whatever, it's going to have a lot of smell to that trap. That trap is fine set in that same location, but if you are moving to a fresh location, to a new location that hasn't made a catch, and you were going to use that same trap, ideally it would be better to back up, dye that trap, and wax it again, and then you have no smell on that trap. The idea of that severely contaminated trap set at a fresh location is that the animals are going to be curious about that smell coming up from the dirt, and they're going to want to dig at it. So best case scenario, eliminate the possibility of them digging at the trap, which is just basically going to fire the trap off. They're not most likely never going to get caught in a digging situation. And if we can eliminate that by cleaning that trap up, getting a fresh trap in that location, then that ideally is the best. So severely contaminated trap in a trapping scenario is a trap that has made a catch and has all that animal smell on the trap. So I hope that helps clear that up. Somebody asked about Jake, if Jake was still trapping. Jake last year basically had a fairly severe thumb injury and just basically didn't want to take the chance of a trap firing off on that hand. So he was still recovering from that. It actually occurred last November, so his timing was bad for hunting season and everything. So anyways, he'll be back out at it this year. I got to say that he did all the filming last season for the Arkansas trip and also our South Carolina trips, and he did a great job. So we appreciated him doing that, but Jake is still in the game when it comes to trapping. So I think that's it. Keep sending those questions in. We'll get to them. By the way, we did the podcast, the last podcast that came out last Friday, and it was on commonly asked questions. Good response to that, so I appreciate that. keep an eye out for Justin's Trap House podcast. And
Who's your trapper deer sense? Success speaks for itself.
all right, product highlight. With Christmas coming up, this is a great stocking stuffer. We sell a lot of these. They're pretty cool. So they are actually little miniature traps. We've got a double long spring, both with a key ring and without a key ring. So there's one that doesn't have the key ring on it. I happen to grab 2 of those. And then there's a single long spring and then a little coil spring, which is pretty cool. So anyways, if you got a trapper on your Christmas list, this is kind of a cool thing to put in a stocking. Anyways, just keep those in mind as a Christmas gift. As most of you know, we're using the MB550s, and this is our typical setup right here. It has the stock chain that comes on the trap, and then we're adding the shock J.C. Connor shock spring, additional chain, crunch proof on the end. So at this point, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 swivel points, which is excellent, and then the shock spring. So basically what we're doing, we've got the stock trap just like this, and then we're adding a pre-bent rivet to that crunch proof swivel. The shock spring goes in here, excuse me, and then we've got another crunch proof that goes right here, and then we're adding 6 inches of chain and then another crunch proof on the end. So if you order, you got to figure 2 crunch proofs per trap, and then 1 J.C. Connor shock spring, and then the 6 inches of chain, and you get the same setup. Now you can ask trappers about short chain, long chain, and we'll have a discussion till the end of time. But our philosophy is that the shock spring eliminates a tremendous amount of direct pull, direct pressure off the trap and off the stake, which helps significantly. The longer chain does allow the animal to lunge or jump more than the short chain, but it also takes that direct pull off. So it also allows the animal to walk around and keep himself busy, while he's been being caught or being held. So that's kind of the idea of that. But and then on the end of the chain, on your last crunch proof, we typically are big on the split rings. Here again, always examine your hardware to make sure it's in good shape after a catch. If you make a catch on frozen ground, that stuff is basically the equivalent of getting beat on concrete. So it's a good idea to always check your trap over, certainly check your hardware over, and make sure that everything's in good working order. The common areas that you need to check are the pre-bent rivets to make sure that they're fully closed, and your split ring, and then of course give your chain a quick once over periodically just to make sure everything's in good shape, and that's essentially it. But anyways, we hopefully this will help you out. If you do go to a shorter chain, you don't like the longer chain, you could always cut in here and do the same thing and then add your shock spring. Don't add your shock spring close to the base plate of the trap, because it's really difficult to work with that shock spring directly under the trap. So but anyways, this is a setup. It's working for us. It does a great job. Can't tell you how much a Coyote can compress that spring, so that every time he compresses that's eliminating that much direct pull off of the trap itself and off of the how you have it staked. So anyways, hope that helps you out.
Trapping has been a lifelong passion of mine. Back in 1976, I started Hoosier Trapper Supply, and we've had the privilege of serving trappers across this great country for all these years. We carry a complete line of traps and trapping equipment. You can check us out at HoosierTrapperSupply.com.
Alright, I hope everyone enjoyed the episode. Real quick, we got the new catalogs out. Sharp looking. You can get one of these if you request one at our website, HoosierTrapperSupply.com, or you could even call the number below here. If you've placed an order recently,
You're already on the list, you'll get one with your order, or if you're on the mailing list, you'll get one. So keep that in mind. Also, please follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, of course YouTube. Subscribe, share, do all that good stuff to support us. And don't forget about the Trap House podcast. And we'll see you next time.
Join us on November 12th for the next episode of Who's Your Trapper Outdoors.